Boris and Cummings finally take over the civil service, the European Union prepare for no deal, and Nicola Sturgeon has lost her mind over fisheries. Hello everyone and welcome to today's show. As you've seen on this channel, for the past year or so we've been talking about the establishment, and in the last few months, obviously since Boris has been around and Dominic Cummings, we've been talking about how those two are planning to reform the civil service and, as they say, drain the swamp of the establishment. That is finally happening. There's been a lot of obstacles on the way and a lot of other crises going around the world, but now Mark Sedbill, who was the head of civil service, has now left. He got fired. You know, Dominic Cummings clashed with him a few times, and Boris Johnson didn't like him, basically, professionally. Now we have his replacement. So in this video, we're going to talk about Simon Case and why he's the right man for the job, because he's one of us. He's an ordinary guy who loves his country, who's not like your typical civil servant. And this is why the snobbish upper middle class civil servants don't really like him. So we're going to talk about a number of reasons why he's good, and we're going to give you the latest updates on Brexit and the fisheries, because you guys have been asking for it. But let's start with Simon Case. As the Financial Times reports, the new civil service chief will be central to Boris Johnson's reform agenda, and the whole point of it is that obviously Monday he was formally announced as the cabinet secretary and the head of the UK civil service, and tasked primarily with delivering Boris Johnson's agenda for shaking up Whitehall. Now, as we said, one main reason that Simon Case is going to be causing trouble is that, so he has the experience, he's just an ordinary guy with a great CV. He was part of the civil service under Theresa May. He was actually in charge of Northern Ireland, but especially post-Brexit, what's going to happen to the Northern Irish Protocol and the border. And he also served as Prince William's right-hand man. And in all these areas, we're going to actually go into the details. He was quite sound. So when it comes to Northern Ireland and obviously people up there, they generally liked him because of his patriotic pragmatism and also sympathy for Brexit and his quiet unionism. I love how the unionist part of it has to be quiet, but the others, like Brexit and being patriotic, that's fine to be open about. And so that's one thing. And this is exactly why when you look at the feedback and all the kind of comments that from, Gus O'Donnell, who used to be the head of civil service, and others, they've said that they don't regard him as one of us. And I wonder why. So O'Donnell has actually said yesterday on Radio 4 that he expects him to grow into the job. I mean, this guy, Simon Case, is now at the head of civil service. He has the top job. And then you have someone like O'Donnell saying he will grow into the job. If it was anybody else, from Sedbill and others, they always regard them as he's already superior, he deserves the job. No one says to someone who has the role of a CEO, for example, that you will grow into the job. The other thing was that, as we said, he was part of Theresa May's kind of government and responsible for Northern Ireland. He caused a bit of trouble because he didn't agree with Theresa May and Ollie Robbins. As you remember, Ollie Robbins was Theresa May's chief negotiator for Brexit, and they had this idiotic solution, the backstop and everything else for Northern Ireland. And Simon Case didn't actually agree with that policy, and he left. Yes, the Times reports that the new civil service chief, Simon Case, had been forced out over Brexit a couple of years ago. So this is 2 years ago when Theresa May was still around and Ollie Robbins was negotiating on behalf of the government for Brexit. And the whole clash between the two sides was the reason that Simon Case left, and then he joined the palace and worked for Prince William. Now, for a while he was working for Prince William as his right-hand man, and they had a great relationship, even with Kate, but not everyone in the family liked him. Meghan Markle, at the time, she was still around in London, and she claims that Simon Case alienated her because Simon had to take William's side, his boss. Yes, Simon Case apparently alienated Meghan and Harry when he was in his PR role for Prince William. And this is according to the Express, that's talking about how obviously at the time he was responsible for running the day-to-day operations of Kensington Palace and is believed to have greatly helped William and Kate Middleton's popularity with the public skyrocket. And but at the same time, obviously Meghan and Harry started to feel unhappy, and they became resentful towards William and Kate. And Simon is getting the blame. Well, as if we already didn't have someone in government who's a bit of an outcast and a troublemaker, Dominic Cummings. Now we have Simon Case. So the establishment, all these, as we said, the snobbish upper middle class civil servants, they're not going to be too happy about him. But that doesn't matter, because this whole thing is happening at the same time as Boris and Dominic doing a bit of a shake-up in Downing Street itself. So earlier this week, Dominic Cummings, for the first time, wore a suit when he went to work, because he's launched his new NASA-style super room mission control sort of thing. And again, this is happening at the same time as the shake-up with the head of civil service. Yeah, so Dominic Cummings and his team have now moved to the Cabinet Office as part of the government shake-up. So the whole thing is that the door that currently connects the number 70 Whitehall to 10 Downing Street has been removed to unite the two office complexes after Mr. Johnson. So, so they literally brought down the door. This Whitehall shake-up that everyone's been talking about is no longer just a metaphor. They're actually shaking up the actual buildings. This is funny because the Cabinet Office and a lot of civil servants are saying that Simon Case's appointment is political and Dominic Cummings is being interventionist and is creating problems for them. Doesn't really matter, because one of them has said that he's very much, they're talking about Simon Case, he's very much viewed as being in Dominic Cummings' pocket and the Prime Minister's yes man. But an ally of Mr. Case has said that he was very much his own man. Well, we'll have to wait and see and judge him in the next few months and see how this kind of reform is actually going to go. They have already today confirmed that the BBC reform is happening. So the BBC licence is going away very soon, I can imagine, because that basically in Parliament, Boris Johnson himself confirmed that the current model and the funding structure is going to be completely changed. Now, the other update is Brexit and the fisheries. So obviously, as you know, David Frost and Boris Johnson, their massive red line is giving free access to UK waters to obviously the French and the Dutch and everybody else in Europe. And Nicola Sturgeon and the SNP have decided to take the EU's side, surprisingly not. And for some reason, they're saying that going against what the EU actually needs is against British interests. Sure. So Sturgeon is now threatening to destroy Boris Johnson's fisheries bill. As you know, the fisheries bill that's been introduced in Parliament in Westminster will give full access to the UK government when it comes to the territories that we have, the UK waters, and it also ensures that foreign vessels will follow the same rules as British vessels. Now, you think that's good, but apparently the SNP think otherwise. So they are now going to vote against the bill in an official boycott against the Tories and urge the new Scottish Conservative leader Douglas Ross and the other MPs to vote with the SNP. The Rural Affairs spokesperson has said that for once, rather than blindly following Boris Johnson through the voting lobbies, it's time that the 6 Scottish Tory MPs stood up for Scotland and the world-renowned fishing industries. I mean, that literally makes no sense. You're saying stand up for the Scottish fishing industries and our UK waters by giving away the rights. How does that even make sense? So that's one thing. Secondly, this is protectionism. The way they're doing it is protectionism. They don't care about the actual fishing industries. This is their version of creating more divisions. So until they get the referendum that they want to become isolationist and leave the union. Now you think these guys are crazy in the SNP. The EU have also lost their minds. So they have made their Brexit intentions clear, finally. I mean, we've already known, but they've actually made it official. They have told Boris that you have to hand over the waters or it'll be no deal. Okay, at the same time you say that, but Michel Barnier has now blocked the fisheries talks until Britain relaxes their unrealistic demands. again, you just said, like, this is according to the EU themselves, that they said you have to hand over the UK waters or there's no deal. And then on the other hand, Barnier has said that, oh, it's Britain that's been that's been obviously unreasonable. So Germany and France have now demanded cooperation to stop no deal because, you know, of the UK's unrealistic demands. This is also confusing. So you have Barnier saying the UK is being unreasonable. France and Germany are saying we don't want no deal. And then the EU are saying, well, if you don't give us waters, there will be no deal. Who's in charge of this operation? Seriously. Is it France? Is it Germany? Is it von der Leyen? Is it the council? Literally, the whole thing makes no sense. The one thing we know, the one group of people who are definitely not in charge, ironically, is the European Parliament and their MEPs. I mean, in any like normal political structure or governance, it's the Parliament that should be in charge, not in Brussels. Or Strasbourg in that case. So this is the latest update on the fisheries. If no deal happens, which seems more likely now, Brussels are going to blame us. But in reality, they literally warned us. If you don't give us access to waters, we're not going to negotiate. So that's fine. So we have that. We have Simon case. And but thanks again for watching. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. As you know, we do have a new schedule now. We have obviously our daily show, and we've been constantly promoting this. Hopefully we will actually be very strong on this every day. The 2 videos are going to come, and soon we're going to announce a couple of good guests on the show for the next week or so. So stay tuned. Also, if you want to support the channel to make sure we continue our work, don't forget to become a member. You get a lot of extra perks, exclusive content, and everything else that we have, from Q&As to members only video podcast. And thanks again for watching. Subscribe, share this video, because we are the media. I'm Tousi. I'll see you guys in the next video.